Hey, I'm Zeke.
And I'm Brian.
And you're watching Two Guys Talking Home Buying.
Hey, thanks for joining us on today's episode. Our goal with this show is really simple. We want to help as many renters become homeowners as possible, but not just become a homeowner, actually take that first piece of real estate and use it as an important part of your overall financial plan to help you get to your financial goals sooner. So that's what we do here, and we cover everything about the process. We cover going through escrow without, freaking out, because it can get kind of stressful when you start getting all of these deadlines once you're in escrow, or maybe you need to find a lender. We talk about, getting pre-approved, getting the best financing, and specifically today, what we're going to dig deep into
are Fixture Uppers. Hey everyone, I'm Zeke. I'm the social media director here at Showcase Agency, and also do plan to buy my first piece of real estate this year. I do have a lot of questions, and I'm a newbie to this whole scenery. Brian over here is super experienced. He's been in the industry for over 15 years, so I hope to get all my questions answered here today.
Yeah, and my name's Brian. I started Showcase Agency back in 2017 with my wife Karen. Showcase is a real estate company and a mortgage company, so that means we can help you to buy or to sell real estate. We can help you to get the home financing. And Karen has been a licensed realtor since 2001. She's been involved in all kinds of transactions. And I've been licensed as a loan officer since 2005. And at one time held 48 state licenses. And so I've just been involved in it for a while. And we thought it might be fun for you as the viewer if we would go through these newbie questions, these first-time homebuyer questions about, today, fixer-uppers, and answer those questions and just get into detail on it. And if you're thinking about buying a home, or maybe you're thinking about buying a fixer-upper, hopefully this will be a great episode for you and you'll get something good from it. So let's just go ahead and hop into it. What's your first newbie question?
Are fixer-uppers safe?
Okay, cool. Great question. And by safe, you mean like health, like the
yeah.
You're not So there are concerns with a home as far as safety when you start getting into things like mold. If there's mold in the home, that can be a health issue where living in the home can make you sick. So that's something that could be of concern to someone. If the home is on a raised foundation and then there's maybe foundational problems, then that home may not be safe. But typically when somebody is purchasing a fixer-up, and we should probably just back up just a second and talk about what a fixer-upper really is.
Okay.
And I learned this from Karen, and she says it all the time when we talk about fixer-uppers. What a fixer-upper means to one person, one buyer, may be different than what fixer-upper means to a different buyer. One buyer might be really comfortable with, taking out walls or adding another room, or like ripping the kitchen out totally and putting a new kitchen in. There might need to be some structural things that are fixed. There might be some issues with maybe like a supporting beam or like the foundation, like I was talking about. That's like a major project, or multiple major projects. But for some people, they call a fixer-upper a home that really is just kind of dated. Maybe the kitchen is, the original kitchen, and the house was built in the 60s or 70s or something. The bathrooms could be the same way. So the home itself may not have the appearance of a modern home. But a person sometimes will buy a house like that, and all they really do is, paint and put in new flooring and, update maybe some of the fixtures in the bathrooms, maybe update some of the things in the kitchen so that everything's modern. So to some people, they would consider that to be a fixer-upper, and they wouldn't want to have anything to do with like ripping out a kitchen altogether or adding a room. They would just feel like that's too much of a project. So when somebody is purchasing something, and let's say that it's in really rough condition, like it's a true fixer-upper, they're going to go through steps. Your contractor is going to go through steps to make sure that home is going to be safe. So the home itself, when you buy it, may not be safe, but you're planning to make it safe. You're planning to get those things fixed so that you can live in it. Or, we're talking about fixer-uppers, and we're kind of mostly talking about a fixer-upper that you would purchase and renovate and then move into and live. But there's also other reasons to fix up a home. You might fix up that home and then rent it out to someone, or you might fix the home up and then sell it to someone right away. That's called a flip, or a fix and flip, usually called a flip. But really what we're mostly talking about today is living in the house. You're going to buy it, you're going to get it fixed up. So the house may not be safe when you purchase it. There might be health and safety issues, like it might need smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors. There might be issues with broken handrails or stuff like that. But the purpose of the renovation and the remodeling is to make it safe. So does that answer your question or no? Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where an agent can really help. If you've got an agent that's experienced with this stuff and they're touring the homes with you, and it's super important that you're really clear with that agent about what a fixer-upper means to you. Because like I say, for some people, they say, I want a fixer-upper, and what they really mean is they just want something that needs some paint, maybe needs a little landscaping, maybe needs some updating in the kitchen and new floors. But when it comes to putting in another room or doing like ripping the kitchen out completely and things like that, that's just not something that they want to do. So you want to be sure that you're communicating with your agent, you guys are on the same page, and then that way when you're looking at homes, the agent can help point things out to you that are important to you. Either it's a positive, something that you've been looking for, or maybe even a negative, something that you want to make sure that you avoid. So that'll be helpful as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Great information. And then my second question is, are they cheap?
So are they cheap? They're cheaper than a similar size home in that same area that's been renovated.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So they're cheap, but it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to make it. So right now there's competition at all price points and all types of homes. When you get into the ones that are true fixer-uppers, you can run into some issues with some of the traditional loans. So like some types of loans are, if the house is in really bad condition, they won't do a loan on the house. Did you know that or no?
No.
Yeah. So if the house is in really bad condition, and they find that out through the appraisal, not through a home inspection, the lender doesn't get any access to the home appraisal, but they do order the appraisal, and so they review the appraisal. So if something came back on the appraisal that said that this home doesn't meet the minimum standards, then they would deny the loan based on the condition of the property. And if the agent that's listing that property for sale, if they're a pretty experienced agent, they're going to know that home won't meet certain standards. Maybe it won't meet FHA standards. FHA has stricter standards on the condition of the property. So at that point, they may say, we're only accepting cash offers and we're only accepting conventional loans. So you might see that sometimes. And a person that's only approved for FHA financing might find like may feel like they're being discriminated against. But the reality is if the seller did accept their offer, and then it goes through underwriting and there's an appraisal done, the appraisal is going to be what ends up denying the loan. So they're just really trying to save some steps there.
I got you. So that kind of answers my next question. Can you get a fixer-upper on an FHA or conventional loan? So
you can get it. So with FHA and conventional, they have two types of loans. They have a loan where you just purchase the property, and then they have a loan where you purchase the property and you can get additional money for the improvements that you want to do. With FHA, it's called a 203K. And then with Fannie Mae, it's called Home Style, and with Freddie Mac, they call it Choice, and it's a Choice Renovation. And so what these are, the 203K, the home style, the choice renovation, these are loans where it's one loan, so it's not two loans, one for the purchase and one for the renovation. It's just one loan. And what it allows you to do is to make a lot of renovations. You typically can't do luxury type stuff. You know, like you typically, with the 203K, you wouldn't be able to add a pool. But with these programs, they got different restrictions and there's different levels of the programs. But that's the way to go if you don't have the money to, in your own pocket to do those renovations. And that's where sometimes people don't realize. They watch these shows on TV where they do a person buys the house and does the renovations, and they do it all in like 30 minutes or an hour or whatever. And the thing is that unless you have the money to pay for those renovations out of pocket, or you have a way to get the credit to do that, like a charge card, and that may not be the best thing financially, then your best option is going to be one of these loans where you roll these things in.
Awesome. Thanks for answering that.
Sure.
And then you mentioned they both get rolled into the same loan, so that means they get they get the same interest rate, correct?
They get the same interest rate, exactly.
Okay.
Now the interest rates on these loans do tend to be a little bit higher, but not a lot higher. So if you don't have the money to do the renovations, then this a lot of times is just like your best option.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then where can you find fixture uppers? Where to find them?
So where to find them? The best thing is most homes are going to be listed on the multiple listing service, and some homes will be listed for sale by owner. Most homes nowadays are still listed through the multiple listing service. That means they're listed with a local realtor, and you could go onto any of these public sites like Zillow or Realtor.com. But if you're specifically looking for a fixer-upper, a lot of times it's good to have a second set of eyes looking for you. So if you have a relationship with your agent, like you're already working with a real estate agent, and that agent knows exactly what you're looking for, then a lot of times that realtor will set up a search where anytime something new comes onto the market that meets your criteria, then you'll get a notice for that. So the realtor sets that up, and a lot of times what the realtor will do will just set it up so that they can actually approve the listing before it's sent to the potential buyer. And that can be helpful because sorting through listings a lot of times, it's hard sometimes to find just a fixer-upper in the search that you're doing. Like if you're searching for 3-bedroom fixer-uppers, you're going to find 3 bedrooms that are move-in ready, typically. So what you've really got to do is identify the criteria that you're looking for, like the area that you want to be in, the size of the home that you want, and of course the price that you want to pay for it. Once you've established those criteria, that becomes where you look. And you're looking at things that are for sale by owner, you're looking for things that are on the multiple listing service, and then if you've got a realtor that you're working with, that realtor would likely be able to help you to look for those homes as well. And when I say look, you're looking online typically, and you're seeing the condition of the property, or getting an idea of the condition of the property.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you guys could
and one more thing, sorry, but so like somebody that's interested in a home that's just like a little dated, and they just want to like paint and put some carpet in, or maybe put in floors, that's going to be something different, obviously, than the person that is looking for something that's just like really needs a lot of work. And that's where it can be helpful to have an agent, keeping an eye out for those kind of things for you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is there any limit to the loan amount you could get to fix your fixer-upper?
Yeah, you're talking about like on the 203K I was mentioning, the home style, the renovation. Yeah, so there's a limit. So what's looked at is you've got your purchase price, and then you've got the cost of your repairs, and then there's a cushion that's typically built in case there's any overages, because what you don't want to have happen is you don't want things to get almost finished and you run out of money. And the lender doesn't want that either, because they don't want their collateral for the loan to be an unfinished home, right? And as the homeowner, you don't want your asset to be like half finished, and you also don't want to be living in a construction zone. So it's really important that you have enough money to do this. So the lenders will build in a cushion. So you've got your cushion, you've got your cost of doing the renovations, and then you've got your cost to purchase the home. So what the lender does is they have an appraiser. So like once you're in escrow, okay, so you found the house, you've put your earnest money in, you've opened escrow, so now you're in escrow. On this kind of loan, the lender is going to have the appraiser not just appraise the current value of the house, but what's called after repair value, or ARV. So what the appraiser does is they actually get a list of all the improvements that you plan to make to the home, that you want to make to the home. So this usually comes from your contractor, okay? So now you're in escrow. You've got a contractor that goes out and looks at the house, and you tell the contractor, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that, and the contractor puts together, an estimate, and then that estimate is provided to the appraiser. So now what the appraiser does is the appraiser says, you know what, here's what this house is worth right now. This is the value I put on this house, and here's the value I put on the house once all of these improvements are completed. And so that becomes your after repair value. And your down payment, let's say that you're doing a loan that has a 5% down payment. Now your 5% down payment is based off of the after repair value,
Really?
instead of the current value.
Okay, so let's say you buy the house for 400, and then after it's all said and done, it's like 500. Then you would have to bring in your down payment of, let's say, 5% based off the 500K?
Correct. Yeah,
Oh,
correct.
wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, we're learning stuff.
Yeah, well, no,
great.
that's a good thing, because your other option would be to have, you said 400,000, right?
Yeah,
And then
400.
your other option would, in this scenario, would be to put 5%. And I'm using 5%. There's programs for 3% down. There's programs for 3.5% down. But you would have to put your 5% down on the 400,000. So now your down payment's less. But you got to come up with $100,000.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, because it seemed like you were kind of like down on that one.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Perfect,
Because that's how you get the money.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for answering that.
Yeah, and the other thing too, while we're kind of on that, the lender also wants to make sure that you're not putting yourself into they truly want to make sure that they're not putting themselves in a bad situation, but because you're the homeowner, they don't want to put you in a bad situation either. And what I mean by that is you don't want to pay. Well, I'll use your example. You don't want to pay $400,000 for a home and then $100,000 for renovations, and then when it's all done, it's worth like $450 or $475. That would not be very good, right? So the lender is also going to make sure that not only are you getting enough money, because you got that cushion and all of that, they're also going to make sure that once this loan closes and all the construction is complete, that you're not in a bad situation financially. Because believe it or not, you can actually make improvements to a home and not recoup all the money that you put into those improvements. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then are there budgets do they give you like budgets for certain things? Let's say you get your fixer upper and you need new carpets.
Mm-hmm.
When you get the loan, do they give you a budget for how much you can spend on a carpet?
No. So what you're doing is when you go into escrow on the home and you get with a contractor, you're gonna have to choose a contractor. A contractor is somebody that is obviously skilled in doing the work. You may want to, and if the lender, so there's different types of like 203K. So with one type of 203K, you're doing smaller projects and you don't have to have a approved contractor doing the work. But when you get into bigger projects, you have to have an approved contractor doing the work. So for example, housing and urban development that oversees FHA, they have a list of contractors, so you could find a contractor there, or you could get a contractor as a referral from your real estate agent or your loan officer or whatever. But you've got to have a contractor, and you're communicating with that contractor about what you want. What do you want the home to look like? And then what they're able to do is they're able to come to you and say, hey, we've got these different choices of materials. The one that you're talking about runs, whatever, X dollars a square foot. Here's another one that's a little less expensive. Here's another one that might be a little bit higher. But it's a collaboration. You're working together with the contractor to stay within budget, but to also get what you want as far as the look.
That's nice. So you kind of, you do get a remodel.
Unless you're really experienced at this, you're going to need people on board with you that understands, the construction, understands the materials. Keep in mind that a lot of contractors are not necessarily, great at being an interior designer, where, they may throw it onto you for like, what colors do you want for the walls, or what colors do you want in the kitchen, or things like that. So sometimes you have to give them some instruction on what you want, and then they kind of take it from there. Sometimes some contractors will say, you know what, why don't you go pick out everything that you want, and this is how much of it that I need, and you cover, this would be a different kind of situation than a 203K or the home style or the choice. But if you were paying out of your pocket, you might want to do some of the work yourself, or you might want to, get the materials yourself and just pay for the labor separate. So those are some things, that you can do. But you're collaborating with that contractor so that you get what you want and so that you stay in budget.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they're the ones that can provide you with like, hey, this is what this is going to cost. If you're not that far along yet and you don't know what things cost, there's a couple of things you can do. One thing that you can do is just go to Home Depot. You go to Home Depot and you can see, all right, well, this is how much these windows cost, or this is how much it costs for a kitchen. They have a whole department at Home Depot. You can go over there and say, hey, I got a certain size square foot kitchen. What does it normally cost to redo all the cabinets and the countertops and things like that? And that can give you an idea. And there's also a great resource. Let me, I think I wrote it down for you. It's remodeling. Where's mine? Here we go. Remodeling.hw.net. So one thing that's cool, so if you go to remodeling.hw.net, every year they publish a remodeling report based on geography. So you can actually, take a look at what's going on in Riverside County. You can take a look at what's going on in LA County or San Diego. They don't do San Bernardino, so if you're in San Bernardino, you look at Riverside. If you were in Orange, you'd look at LA, would be a good example. But in that, in their report that they put out every year, they show what it cost for like a certain type of remodel. So if you wanted to remodel your kitchen, and not only were you going like all out on the materials, but you're also going high end on your appliances, they've got a figure there. I think it's, let me see. I think it's $150,000 for the kitchen.
Wow.
It's a lot, right?
Yeah. Expensive kitchen.
Yeah. So major kitchen remodel upscale, $154,632. That's like the typical cost for a high-end kitchen remodel. But if you were going with a minor kitchen remodel, and let's say you were in the mid-range instead of high-end, now in Riverside County, it's giving you a job cost of $27,000. So you go from $27,000 to $150,000 just for a kitchen, right? Yeah. So that's a great resource if you're thinking about buying a fixer-upper and you're wondering, like what it costs to do a renovation to a bathroom or a master bathroom or a bedroom or whatever. Go to that site and choose the county and the year for the report. You'll download it, and not only will it show you what the average job cost is, it also shows you what you can expect in added value. So,
Really?
so for example,
great.
if you put the $150,000 into the kitchen, guess how much it increases the value of the house, according to their estimates?
I don't know. 20,000?
85,000.
85,000. Wow. That's a
What? But you're putting 150
yeah
in
to get 80.
to get 80.
So now it's 230, right? It would be all 230.
No, you're not following me. You're putting $150,000 into the kitchen,
Okay.
and now the kitchen has added $80,000 to the value of the house. You just lost $70,000.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it now. I got it now.
Yeah, you just lost 70 grand on a high-end kitchen, and that's why it's really important to identify your project based on what your plans are with the house. If you're going to live in the house, you're probably going to go higher. You might go higher in materials than if you were just going to rent the house out. Or if you were just trying to flip the house, you might go with something that's more basic, just because you don't necessarily know the taste of the person that's going to buy the house. But this is a great report.
Yeah.
You can find out what things cost. You can find out how much value it adds. Now, if you're and this really has a lot to do with if you already own the house and you were doing these renovations. If you're purchasing the Fixture Upper and doing the renovations, again, the lender is going to make sure that you're not putting yourself in a situation where you've put $100,000 into renovations, but it only increased, the value of the house less than $100,000. They're going to make sure that you're not in an upside down situation.
Gotcha. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, sure.
Super helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they put out a new report every year, and you can look at it by county, so that's super helpful.
Awesome.
Yeah. What else you got?
You know what? I'm all out of questions.
Hey, no worries. Very cool. Great questions today. One thing I do want to add, guys, is if you're buying a house or a condo or townhouse that has a homeowners association, then depending on what kind of renovations you're doing, you may actually have to reach out to the homeowners association, the HOA, and get them to approve your plans. Some people think that only condos or townhouses have HOAs, but some single family homes do as well. And you want to make sure that you reach out to them with whatever projects that you're up to. They may want to see estimates or plans. And if you're doing anything structural, they're probably going to want to approve it. If you're doing anything to the outside appearance, they're going to want to make sure that it meets standards in the neighborhood. Yeah. So if you're buying something that's got a HOA, just know that, and hopefully you guys found this helpful. What's a viewer question we got?
Awesome. So this week's viewer question is: how long does it take to find out if you've been pre-approved?
Great question. So pre-approval is different from a pre-qualification. We talked about that before on some of the stuff that we're doing on Instagram and Facebook. Be sure to check that out if you're looking for more information about purchasing a home. We put a lot of content out on Instagram and Facebook. You can follow us there. But when it comes to actually getting pre-approved means that the lender has pulled a credit report. They've reviewed your documents, your income documents. This would be if you've got a regular job, a W-2, and a pay stub. If you're self-employed, then that's either going to be your Schedule C or your business tax returns. So there's different things that are needed. But a pre-approval means your credit's been pulled and your credit's been reviewed and it's acceptable. Your income documents have been reviewed and they're acceptable. And then the loan itself, the application and everything has gone through an automated system to get an automated approval. There are manual approvals too, but right now we're talking about the automated approvals. That's going to be like 99% of the loans out there. There are companies that will say you can apply with them online and they'll give you your pre-approval in minutes. But the thing about that is there hasn't been somebody that's actually reviewed the documents or your credit report. So sometimes there's things on the credit report that might be misread by the automated underwriting system. And so that they may pre-approve you, but the amount might be lower than what you could really get. Another thing could be if you, like we had a guy the other day, self-employed, brings in about 10 grand a month, and that's what he put on his application. But then when we actually looked at his tax returns and everything, because of things that were deducted from his income, he ended up, his average income was like $700 a month. So he put $10,000 on the application, and then really what we're able to use is $700 per month. So there's a big difference. That, he doesn't even qualify for anything at $700. So that's a little bit about these quick pre-approvals. You could go online and you could find a pre-approval for where you get pre-approved in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, but it's still subject to somebody else coming in and looking over your documentation, calculating your income, and going through your credit report. What's more common is where you apply. Most people still apply online. We offer an online application. Most everybody does nowadays. But however you apply, you either apply in person and give the information to somebody across the desk, or you can do it over the phone, or you can do it online. But they take your application, they pull your credit, and then at some point somebody has to do those steps that I just went over. They got to review the income and calculate it to make sure it's accurate. They have to review where your bank statements are a great example. So if you've got a bunch of money in the bank, but some of that money is not allowed to be used by the lender because of the way that it was deposited or documented, I should say, then that would be an issue. But yet you've still been pre-approved through some of these faster systems. So typically you're going to fill out an application, and then somebody is either going to work with you right then to go through the pre-approval, or what's usually more common is for somebody to do it a little bit later on. Most places that do a lot of business are usually going to get you your pre-approval within like 24 hours. 24 hours. Yeah, wow. So I would say 24 hours is a good rule of thumb. It might take somebody that's really busy, maybe 2 days. And we're talking about business days, so on a Friday, it might be Monday. But that's what I would say is a good rule of thumb. Awesome. And if somebody's taking longer to get you a pre-approval, you want to find out why it's taking so long. Are they just busy? Did they go on vacation? Are they missing something from you and they forgot to tell you about it? But it shouldn't take more than a couple of days.
Gotcha. Thanks for answering that. And that's what we got this week.
Yeah, very cool. So hope you guys found it helpful. If you're thinking about getting a Fixture upper, this should give you some good starting points. I would definitely recommend finding out the details on the renovation loans like the 203K, the Home Choice, the Home Ready, and then the Choice Renovation. We offer all of those here at Showcase Agency. If you wanted a quote on those, you could just text our office at 949-518-0742. And
also, before we close out the video, make sure to subscribe, comment. If you guys have any questions, we'll make sure to answer them in one of our future videos. And also turn on your post notifications to see when we upload next.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for joining us. See you next time.
See you.